Now we are going to start with a unit that is the heat. As you all know that energy is the ability to do work, and we have different forms of energy which exist in nature. Out of that, heat is the common form of energy. So if we want to define heat, how we are going to do that? Obviously it is form of energy that we can't see. You cannot see heat, but you can feel it. Suppose anything is hot, so when you'll touch that thing, so what it is emitting, actually it is emitting a heat energy. That is why you feel hot. So wherever there is a hotness, so that means heat energy is there. And if somebody is you can say cold, so that means it possesses less heat. So that means heat is a form of energy which impart hotness to a body, you can say that. Now, heat has the tendency to flow. Heat can actually flow from one point to another. So now we are going to see that what is the direction of flow of heat. What is the direction of flow of heat? Suppose we have a hot body. Let's say that its temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. And we have one cold body. Let's say its temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. So now how heat flows? Heat always flows from a body at higher temperature to body at lower temperature. It always formed from a body at high temperature to body at low temperature. Hot means it has more heat energy. So obviously it is going to flow from where it is high to a region where it is not present. So obviously it is going to flow from hot body to cold body. Now the question is that suppose it is releasing heat, so that means when the heat is transferring from hot to cold body, its temperature with time decreases because it is gaining heat. So that means temperature with time for this cold body will increase, right? And the flow of heat will continue till the time they both attain the same temperature. It continues till the time they both attain the same temperature, and that is the condition of equilibrium. That means they at that state they have actually achieved equal amount of heat, and their temperature becomes equal. So therefore at this point, when the temperature becomes equal, there will be no further heat flow of heat will be there. So this is how the flow of heat occurs. So you should know that the flow this is a common thing, that flow of anything will occur obviously from a body which possess that to a body which do not possess that. So obviously hot and cold, hot possess heat, cold doesn't possess, so heat is going to flow from hot to cold body. Now amount of heat gained, like there are certain factors which actually influence the amount of heat gained by any body. So let's say heat is noted by Q. So amount of heat gained depend upon mass of body. Depend upon mass of body. More is the mass of body, more heat it will gain, and to raise its temperature by the specific point. Likewise, amount of heat depends upon the rise in temperature. If you need to rise the temperature to a certain point, then you need to supply more heat. So that means it depends upon the rise in temperature as well. And moreover, it depends upon the nature of substance also, because some substances are there which become hot very soon, and some are there which become hot and means they take time to become hot. So that means it depends upon mass of body, it depends upon rise in temperature, and depends upon nature of substance. More is the mass, more heat you need to supply. Suppose I have 1 gram of substance, I need to supply suppose x heat, and suppose now my mass is doubled, that means it becomes 2 grams, so I need to supply more heat. So that means with the increase in the mass, heat always increase. Likewise, rise in temperature, suppose I need to change its temperature from 30 to 40 degrees. So let's say I need to supply X heat. Now if I wish to increase its temperature from 30 to 80, so obviously I need to supply more heat. Third, it depends upon the nature of substance, because some substances are there which take up heat very easily, and some are there which takes time to get hot up. So that means it depends upon these 3 factors. Now moving on, that what is the unit of heat, that means how we measure heat. We measure heat in a commonly called unit, that is the calorie. We measure heat in the SI, and that is the SI unit for heat energy, or we commonly what we use is the calorie. It has a, as we know that energy has a unit joule also, so it can be joule also, but when we talk about the heat energy, it is maximum time, it is measured in the calories. So how you define calorie? 1 calorie is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of substance, given substance, by 1 degree Celsius. So that means 1 calorie is the amount of heat. Suppose let's take an example. Suppose I have a sample and I have a given amount of substance. So what amount of heat I need to supply it, the given amount, that means mass is fixed. Mass is fixed. So how much heat I need to supply it if I need to increase its temperature by 1 degree Celsius, that is something called as calorie. We have a few more units also, the bigger units. See, 1 calorie can be converted into joules because 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joules. Likewise, 1 kilocalorie is equal to 4200 joules. And you can say that this thing, 1 joule is equal to 0.24 calories. So these are actually the values you need to learn, because you might get a chance in any numerical to convert one unit to another. So if you will be thorough with the conversions, so that you can do it very easily. So 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joules, 1 kilocalorie is obviously 4200 joules, and 1 joule is equal to 0.24 calories. So this is how we have the conversion factors here, that how the calorie and joule, both units are interrelated with each other. Now, moving on to the specific heat capacity. As I told you that the amount of heat gain obviously depend upon the nature of substance. So that means some substances are there which like suppose I'll give you an example. Suppose I have substance A and I have substance B. Let's say both are of same mass. Mass is same in both the case. Mass is same. Now, if I need to increase its temperature by 1 degree Celsius and I need to increase its temperature same by 1 degree Celsius, so it is not always that I need to supply them the same heat, because they both are different substances. So this can happen that A needs more heat to raise the temperature by same 1 degree Celsius, and it comparatively need less energy to raise its temperature by same amount, that is 1 degree Celsius. So that means different substances need different amount of heat to raise its temperature by 1 degree Celsius. So that is something called as specific heat capacity. Because see, the name is specific, that means the specific, you can say that specific heat is required for specific substances. So that means every substance has its own heat capacity. So specific heat capacity is amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of substance by 1 degree Celsius. So that means specific heat capacity is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature same by 1 degree Celsius and for the same amount of mass, that is the 1 gram, and it is different for different substances. So on what factors it depends? Again, it depends upon amount of heat gain, depend upon is you can write that specific heat capacity is denoted by C. It depends upon the amount of heat absorbed. It depends upon mass, it depends upon temperature. So that is why we get a formula Q is equal to mCT. So you can see that this C is directly proportional to Q, inversely proportional to M, and inversely proportional to rise in temperature. So that is why we have a formula like if I need to club that amount of heat which is required and we take into notice specific heat also. So you can directly write the formula that amount of heat gain depends upon mass, depends upon specific heat, depends upon rise in temperature. Clubbing all three, we have Q is equal to mCT, where M is the mass, I'll write here, M is the mass, C is the specific heat, and T is the rise in temperature. So this is what is the specific heat capacity. This C is the specific heat capacity, because but then most of the time you will get a question related to the amount of heat gain. So that is why I have just transformed this formula from specific heat capacity in terms of the the heat gain. So you can write in either way also, like as per requirement in the question you can just shuffle it out. So this is what is the specific heat capacity. So I think it's clear that it is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of substance by 1 degree Celsius. Now if we talk of the units, that in what units we measure specific heat capacity. So Q is equal to mCT. We can write C is equal to Q upon m into T. Putting their units, we know that in heat we measure in joules. We can also measure in calorie, but most of the time it is measured in joules. Joules, mass is in kg and temperature is in degrees Celsius. So what is the unit for C? It is joule per kg per degree Celsius. So this is the SI unit in which the specific heat capacity for a substance is being measured. So now as you know about heat and how it flows and factors on which it commonly depends and what is the specific heat, 1 calorie, and you know how to define also, and you are also aware of the relation between the calorie and the joules, that how you can interconvert them. So now let us start with the applications of specific heat capacity. So till the time I just clean the board and start with another topic, that is the application. You just carry on with this, try to learn it, because these are the basic things you need to know. So now we are starting with the applications of specific heat capacity.